right, here we go. Take it away, Chief.
Okay, hold on, let me press this little got it button. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, basically, when it comes to me personally being disabled, like I said, I'm super openly disabled. Anything that I want to talk about, if I bring it up, don't feel any type of way asking any questions. If I bring it up, it's out there, it's free to ask any questions. Like I said, like when it comes to disability in general, my whole thing is I want people to ask questions. I want people to be curious. And I want to be the person that could break things down for people or, explain things to people or just in general have a conversation. And, you know, I'm I'll go into it a little bit. Like I said, I am gonna discuss it on my YouTube and I'm gonna bring it up on Insta very shortly. But I have been dealing with that little personal health issue that it's been emotional more so rather than just like trying to get through it and making jokes about it. It's more on the emotional side right now, but it's really going from having a normal, in quotations, disabled life to having a more, I don't even know how to describe it. Okay, let me just start from the beginning. So basically, I have to have a catheter 24/7 now. And it's kind of weird for me to talk about. As you can see, it's hard for me to kind of get it out because it is I'm shy about it. I'm a little awkward about it, but I don't want to be. And I want to be comfortable about it. And I feel like the only way for me to do that is to talk about it and bring it up and literally talk to people about it. And when I do that, other people feel comfortable coming like out of the, what is that called? Like out of the rugs or whatever.
Out the
What is
woodwork.
that? Yeah, out of the woodworks. Yeah. Because like even a couple people that I've like somewhat talked to that I'm kind of close with, I brought it up. They're like, hey, you've been kind of quiet lately. What's going on? I haven't been posting as much. I've been, kind of like just distant from people. And it is because of, that health issue. I don't know really how to talk about it. I don't really know what to do like with it other than just kind of go with it. And for me, being open about it is so much easier than just being quiet and just kind of dealing with it alone, So I don't know. It just feels a lot better. Even just like saying it to you, it feels a lot better just like having that off my chest. I don't know why, but it has been tough, but I am moving forward from it. And to add a positive note to it, it is, well, I was going to say it is on the ups, but it's just where it is now, like I'm healthier now. I'm not in and out of the ER like I was. I was in and out of the hospital at least like 4 times, I think, in 1 month, which is like crazy to me. I'd never go to the hospital. So like that's crazy. And I was dealing with a lot with that and the kidney infection on top of it. So it was just a whole bunch of craziness, you know. It got to the point where I actually took a pain pill, which is crazy for me because I don't mess with pain pills and stuff. So like it's just been an adjustment, but I'm here now and it's about 2.5 months later and we're just going with it. And as of now, I can kind of joke about it and I'm not just like shy about it. But like I said, I'm still a little awkward about it, but we're good, But yeah, that's like my biggest thing is being openly disabled, talking about things, making sure that the world knows that people with disabilities, we're not scary people. We're not monsters. You don't have to be shy to talk to us. Like I said, if you have questions, there's a way to go about asking questions. You don't just go up to somebody and be like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, what's up? What's your name? Introduce yourself, get into talking a little bit. And honestly, a lot of the times people with the disabilities will bring it up just to get it out the way because we already know you guys are thinking about it. Like it's just one of those things. But yeah, it's really nothing scary to like, well, it is scary to encounter. I feel like encountering people with disabilities because if you haven't been around them, it's something different. It's something that you've never been around. So anything like that, I could see how people could get nervous and stuff. But normalizing people with disabilities, normalizing just seeing a roller out there in general and just being like, oh, okay, cool, that's normal. That's my goal in life. Instead of, seeing a roller and being like, oh wow, there's actually disabled people in this world for real. Like that's just so weird to me, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
like
know I don't know if all that made sense, but Yeah.
No, no, you crack on. I appreciate your perspective, and your
Yeah.
life story, and it's funny because it's like we're all ignorant, but it's like we all like to be ignorant. It's like, guys, you can just pull your head out of the sand and everyone's just like, it's warm in here. You're like,
Literally.
guys, you can't see shit. Like, just fucking pull
Right.
your head out, and I
Hmm.
think we need to praise, especially in kids, right? I think we need to praise
Yeah.
inquisitive minds of like, oh, hey, how are you? First of
Yeah.
all, do you mind if I ask why you sat down all the
Yeah.
time? You're like, oh, here you go. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I wouldn't have known if I didn't ask the question, right? Rather than just like,
Uh-huh.
oh no, look at this person, can't see. You're like,
Literally.
it's literally a person sat down.
Literally.
Like, you go and get a coffee and sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
That's just a person
It's
sat
funny
down.
you say that too, because kids in general, they're so like innocent and like they like unless they're taught something, like I feel like they're just gonna go up to you and just be normal, whether
Yeah.
you like they know what's going on or not. Because I work at a hotel front desk and just the other day, there's always people in my hotel, like always in and out, yada yada. Um, but there was this one specific, there was like three little kids, but this one kid, he came up like back and forth from my desk asking for pens for him and his siblings. They were coloring or whatever. And it was like the third time he comes up to the desk, he's just like, I just want to ask you something. And then I was like, okay, what's up? He's like, do you have any Hot Wheel cars? And I'm like, nah, we don't have any Hot Wheel cars. He's like, oh, well, because your chair reminds me of a Hot Wheel car because it's like Hot Wheels, you know? And I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, what the, like, this little kid, he's over there, like, instead of thinking, like, oh, what's wrong with her? Why is she in a wheelchair? Like, this, like, yada, yada, that. He's over there literally thinking, dang, that reminds me of a Hot Wheels car. Like, that's
What a guy.
so, like, come on, I like that, you know? That's what we need. I like
For
that.
for sure. Like, we need to be able to, I think comedy comedy holds attention, but it also like it's so valuable in society, right? Because it
Yeah.
pulls people out of their own heads. Even just something sprinkled in, like I know probably the kid didn't think about it as sprinkling a bit of comedic humor in there, but it was just like, oh, it reminds me of a Hot Wheels car. Rather than just be
Literally.
like, oh, you see me rolling, you're like, well,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
mistimed that one.
Yeah.
It pulls people out of their heads, and it's like, oh, okay, we can joke about this and move the fuck on and get on with
Yeah.
life. You're like, yes, it doesn't have to be this, purple elephant in the corner of the room. Don't think
Exactly.
about the purple elephant and everybody's thinking about it. It's like, right, listen, let's just make a joke. Say I look like a ghost because I'm so white, blonde, whatever. Just make a joke out of it, move forward. It's like we've all got our own little thing, right? And unfortunately, we're still in this time where it's like you might have somebody who's short stature, right? Or has dwarfism, or maybe they're wheelchair bound, or maybe they're
Hmm.
hard of hearing, or visually impaired, or whatever the fuck it is, right? You're just like, oh,
Hmm.
oh, look at this thing. You're like, what do you mean this thing? You mean the person, the the
Yeah.
the, the human being? I was like, can
It's
you can
crazy
you slam
because
dunk?
yeah. And the person right next to you, you don't even have like you won't even know it. They could have an invisible disability. And
Yeah,
you, like you could be the most ablest person in the planet. And like what if that person is your best friend and they just never told you like how you just said like they're hard of hearing. You'll never know that unless they have a hearing aid or they tell you.
yeah.
Like, so that's crazy to me because some people, like, really, when they find out, like, stuff like that, they'll stop talking to people or they'll start acting weird once they find out, like, oh, they're different. And it doesn't just have to be a disability, it could literally be anything. It's
Yeah.
just interesting how people work.
I think we are in an interesting time though with the development of like neurodivergence, right? And being
Yeah.
able to identify at a
Yeah.
younger age. And I can kind of
Hmm.
relate that back to the sport realm because it's the one I got a little bit more of an experience in. Because most of us, the sport kids, are not academically gifted, put it that way.
Yeah.
So we just spend a lot of time lifting and shifting and throwing balls and running after it and chasing eggs, you know. But if you look at those kids, especially now when I end up coaching them, it's like, okay, guys, well, you might be a little bit more gifted physically,
Yeah.
right? But in terms of academics, in terms of cognitive ability, maybe we're not up to average. So
Hmm.
there you can highlight somebody physically. You'd be like, listen, look, there's the difference. You might be able to do this, but you also not necessarily can do that. And then you can flip it the other way around. It's like, well, this person might be, real friggin' smart, but then physically can't do anything. You can
they just need
highlight
to be
them.
given the right chance. Like everybody has their own. See, that's the thing. Like I totally agree with that too. And sometimes I feel like if given the right opportunity, you could have brains and you can have the brains and the bronze,
Wrong, yeah.
right? Bronze, yeah. So like anybody given the chance, they got this.
100%. We've all got our own little niche.
Mm-hmm.
We've all got our own thing, right? And we should all
Yeah.
have the opportunity to do our thing. Some
Yeah.
people are funny, some people are, gifted at the game of basketball. Other people are just
People just
fucking
need to
wicked
be
smart.
feeling comfortable enough to be able to do that.
Mm. So how do we do
You
that?
know,
How do we allow people, or I don't want to say make, but how do we?
I know, like that's like make them act right.
Yeah, yeah. Force them to do shit. You're like, maybe that's not the right way, but
No, for real.
how do we go about it,
I
Chief?
think about this all the time. Like I said, even just past like everything we've talked about, there's so many things like just in general that are weird, how people act and like what people do and like how people feel or make people feel. Like I think just like, well, me personally, I'm like a very vibey and energy type person. So I feel like if everybody kind of went into situations more on a positive note or more on like a more level-headed note rather than like a more what is it called when somebody like quick to action, like rather than being oh, it's a word I'm
Kind
trying
of
to think
quick on
of.
the trigger.
Yeah, like rather than just like doing that instead of think like me personally, I'm that way. Like sometimes like
Judgmental.
I've had to work on that a lot. Like that's actually one of my toxic traits I had to work on because I'm very like if something bothers me, I'm very like, ah, like I'll let you know if it's bothering me and I'll let you know right then and there, like no filter, like this is what you're bothering me about. But maybe sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So like it's very hard to answer that question because it all depends on like the group of people you're with, the person you're talking to, the like vibe you're in, the like scenery you're in.
Mm.
It's difficult, but like I said, I feel like if everybody kind of had more of like a level head rather than just everybody being so defensive these days, I think that's a big thing. Everybody's so defensive because not that it's a bad thing, but I feel like the world is a lot more vocal. So now I feel like a lot of people are more shy to express themselves. And if they do, they get shut down, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So that's
agree with that.
what's
I agree
yeah.
with that a lot. It's like the world's a little bit more vocal, but nobody's saying anything. We're just shouting.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause now everybody's scared because we got the people that are vocal and crazy vocal, but like
Yeah.
only they want their way. And if it's not their way, then that's it. But then we also got the people that are vocal that don't stand up to other people. And then we got the people that just don't say anything.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a interesting circle that we run into.
Yeah, like people are hitting this weird spot, I think. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think technology is unbelievable. That's how we're connecting right now, right?
Mhm.
But also it's creating this really weird social effect. And I work
Yeah.
with people all the time, right? I got to coach them, I got to interact with them all the time. That's my thing. Soft skills for me is basically how I pay my bills. So I see it and I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention to how people interact and then adapt to the way I then express myself to give
Right.
them what they want at the end of the day, help these individuals. And you just see them in the fucking street. And it's like everybody's walking around like with this hostility baggage. It's like they want to walk through you. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
What
Like
happened to
nobody even looks up from their phone to say hello anymore.
no man? And if you look at somebody, you want to give them a little wave or hi, how are you doing? They're always like, what the fuck are you looking at? I was like, well,
Yeah.
you for one.
Yeah.
Right. But
Like I was gonna tell you your jacket's cool, buddy, but never mind.
okay, now you can just go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
literally.
it's strange. Like I don't know the root cause of it. Somebody a lot smarter than I am can
Yeah.
probably figure this out. But I just think we need to be aware of it. And I think a lot of people aren't. They just
Or
cruise
they
through
just choose
life
to
pissed.
ignore it.
Or the two,
Hmm.
what were you saying, sorry?
What? Oh, I said, or they choose to ignore it.
Or they choose to ignore it, yeah, which is like
Hmm.
arrogant ignorance, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
that's destructive. And I think as a
Yeah.
human being,
Yeah. For
it's
sure.
fucking hard, man. Maybe we should have the power and be able to create laws and stuff and fix this thing out. But also, I would not want that responsibility.
Honestly, that's very brilliant you say that, because I feel like it might have started that way with good people, but exactly like you just said, the stress of it just turned into, damn, like, do I really want that control? Do I really want people yelling at me for making all the decisions, even if it was the decision that they wanted? It didn't come out how they wanted, because you could be the decision maker. People could vote for whatever decision you make. You could choose the vote that people voted, and they'll still be mad about it because something won't be how they expected it to be. Nothing can ever be perfect. And that's kind of what's sad, because no matter what, there's always going to be that one person that isn't happy, and they're always going to try to find other people to be unhappy with them or make other people unhappy. That's what stinks.
Yep, and they'll wait for somebody in a chair wearing a wig to pass a bill, and they'll probably say it was 98% good and 2% bad, and they'll focus on the 2%. Or they could just get up in the morning and actually create the fucking change that they want to see.
Whatever.
But hey, that sounds like hard work to me, and why would anybody want to do that?
See, it would only be hard work in the beginning just to get things going. But
Yeah.
like, people don't understand, once you get things going, like, it's so easy. Like, get everybody on the same page. Stop. Everybody needs to stop being so selfish. Like, why is it so hard to make the world easier? Like, why do people hate that so much?
Mm,
And that just makes you wonder, like, why are they making it so difficult? Is it because if they did do that, like, would they lose control?
mm.
No. Like, if all the people had a say in things, and they actually did start listening to us and letting people into, like, say, like, well, you guys don't have like Congress or anything, right, over there?
No, not
Like,
in not in Britain. We
no?
have Parliament.
Yeah. Well, basically it's the same idea. Put somebody in power that is genuine, that genuinely cares, that genuinely has dealt with something that is like, well, I don't want to say traumatic, but like, it just makes them have a heart,
Mm,
like, I'm so tired of all these, like the politicians here are just disgusting people. Like, they are horrible. I don't like them. Like, I I don't even like to vote because I don't know who to vote for. Like, that's the thing. But
mm.
if you don't vote, then all the people that vote will choose the bad person, and then you're just stuck. And either way, it's just like a roller coaster, or not a roller coaster, a merry-go-round. Like, you try to do what you need to do, but like we said, if the people in power are not good people, what are we doing? Where are we going? And
Yeah,
I say that too. I'm like very, like, on that one, because we have a lot of people in power for disability things that don't even have a disability, for one, and they make decisions in an able-bodied mindset. So like,
yeah.
there's a lot of things that are set for people with disabilities that doesn't make any sense, and it drives me crazy, because I'm just like, can I just please, like, just talk to me? Like, can I just tell you that's crazy and doesn't work?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's
Like, it
like,
just drives me crazy.
yeah, it works. You can just walk up the stairs and you're like, did you just listen to what the fuck just came out of your mouth?
Literally,
I'm in a
literally.
chair, dude. You want me to expect me to, oh yeah, let me just cure myself for like 30 seconds and walk up
For
these two
real,
flights of stairs.
for real.
Fucking crazy, man.
It's because they see one person in a wheelchair dragging themselves up the stairs, dragging their chair, and they think all of us could do that. Why would anybody want to do that in the first place?
Hmm.
That's like horrible. Then you get your pants all ruined.
It'd be like we're gonna take out stairs and escalators, and we're gonna
Mhm.
have a fireman's pole or a rope, and expect everybody to just pull themselves
Oh
up
my
to the next level.
gosh.
People would kick
Can
off.
you?
They're like, oh no, they want to be lazy. They want to get the escalators and shit, or the lifts. I'm like, well, that's what you're telling other folk to do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's
You
strange.
know,
I
I
think,
like the idea of, I don't know where they have it. I think it's in Paris or something. They have the stairs that close and then turn into a lift. It's like really, really cool.
oh wow.
Yeah. It's like a whole thing where like there's like 7 stairs and they're like regular, like you know what stairs look like, just think
Yeah.
of stairs. And then they literally like all go, you know how bleachers close? They
Yeah.
close like bleacher. And it literally just turns like underneath is a flat thing for you. You just roll into the chair and the walls come up around you. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. Do that. They tried, they did it, and what's the harm? Nothing. Now it's all accessible. Wow, crazy. Who would have
Wow.
thought?
I think for me, it's the inability to not ask the question, right? I don't get that, right? Maybe it's because I've kind of been blessed with a very dumb brain, but it's like, well, if I don't know something, right? And I like, for example, I don't know what it's like to live in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like. I could sit down and like try
You
and
can research
imitate it.
about it.
I could
Yeah.
research about it. I could read a book. I could friggin' go about my life in a wheelchair. Yeah, great. But
Mhm.
also I can move my legs, right?
Right.
So I don't know what that's
You
like.
could lift your arms above your head. You could twist your body around. Like
Bingo.
there's
So
lots of things that people don't, they
uh,
take for granted.
exactly. And what I would say is, why don't we ask somebody who lives their life that way?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like being loaded. I don't know what it's like being a lady. I don't know what it's like
And
being
it's
African
okay to
American.
say that.
Fucking ask the
Like
question, you
I think
know?
people be embarrassed if they don't know, but it's just like, how would you know?
Yeah, I think it comes from that prejudice, right? It's like, oh, these people only need X, Y, Z. You're like,
Yeah.
these people, you mean human beings?
Oh my gosh, I have a story for you.
Go on.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so literally, it's like a thing in my life that people just call me wheelchair. Okay. They'll be
Okay.
like, oh, the wheelchair over there, or that wheelchair girl. Okay. There is this one moment that I will never forget in my life. I was going to my best friend's house. So I live in New York. She lives in Maine. I don't know. Do you know where, like, the difference where
Close,
that
right?
is? Not really. It's
Oh,
like 12 hours
Jesus.
difference, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's a bit
it was
off.
like, yeah, it was like a travel. So basically, she moved from Maine to Pennsylvania, which now from Buffalo, where I live, is 2 hours, maybe like 3.5. Okay.
Right.
So I take a Greyhound because I'm like, oh my God, my best friend doesn't live 12 hours away anymore. She's only like 3.5 hours away, 2 hours maybe. So the Greyhound is just like the bus that takes you all over, probably all over like the world. It could probably go everywhere. I don't know, but I took it from Buffalo to Pennsylvania, and it was the worst experience of my life because I get on there. I was so confident and proud of myself because I had like was being all independent. I went on the bus by myself. I went to the station by myself, got my own little lunch by myself. Like I felt like a whole adult, okay? And I get on the bus, and being a wheelchair user, you have to take up 2 seats, sometimes 4 seats, like because they got to put them down, you know.
Mm.
But like we still pay for our ticket, and I'm sure our tickets might be a little more expensive because usually that's what it is. Like accessible things are usually more expensive, but that doesn't matter. Either way, I paid for my ticket and I got my seat.
Mm.
So no matter what, the bus, well, we'll talk about the situation, whether the bus did the right thing or not at the end. But long story short, I'm on the bus in my seat, already tied up and everything. Like the guy already did everything. Everybody else is on the bus. We're literally ready to go. And these last little stragglers come, wait, 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 wait. I don't know if they were like, you know how you could buy your ticket right then and there if somebody like cancels or something. So I wonder if it was like a situation like that because they just hopped on. And then they immediately started like they were just like screaming, cussing, like mad at me. First of all, let me just express that. They're mad at me because they get on and see that I'm in my seat. And I guess they had one of my seats that must have been folded down somehow. Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head. Because they go, oh, that fucking wheelchair over there is in my spot. Like, and I'm just like, wait, I'm not the only wheelchair on here. So I know they're talking about me. They're like, yeah, that wheelchair girl, like, she's in our spot. Why are they letting her on there? She needs to get off. She's taking up 4 seats. I think it was only 2 seats. They folded them down or whatever. But I'm just sitting there like, bro, I paid for this seat. Like, it's not like I just like came on here and they were just like, oh yeah, like, like I deserve to be here. I paid
Mm.
for this. Like, I'm allowed to go and visit my friend without having the hassle of that. And the fact that you're going to be rude and not even say, hey, you know, like, let's talk about this or something. Come up to me and maybe I had the wrong seats or something, you know, but like I couldn't have because the guy put me in the seat. You know, it was just this confusing situation. But just to be put in that situation just because I'm disabled and somebody has the audacity to not have any type of respect or honestly just like caring for somebody else's feelings. So that was mad embarrassing because, like I said, the bus was full and nobody stood up for me either. Like nobody was like, yo, watch your mouth. Like she called me a fucking wheelchair bitch like at least 5 times. I'm not even kidding. And it was like to the point where they were saying like they wanted to like fight me. It was weird. Like they wanted to like kick me off the bus. It was weird. And I texted my boyfriend right away. I was like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. But it's just like situations like that. Yeah. It's just uncalled for, unneeded. And not for nothing, girl, you wasn't even supposed to be there. So like come on.
Come on, man.
But that's
That
not
bus
like the
driver's
first situation.
that bus
Hmm.
driver's got to stand up and be like, you know what? Get the fuck off
Nobody
this
did.
bus. Like these
Nope.
these two people are coming at the end. Just shut the fuck up and off you go.
No, he ended up just telling them to sit down, and the whole ride, I kept hearing them whisper about. Swear to God, the whole ride, like I said, it was like 3.5 hours. I heard wheelchair at least 20 times on that bus. So I know they were talking about me the whole time. Yeah, like it's just insane.
It's bystanders, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
That branches off to a really fascinating and scary point of like, the strength is in the pack. The collection of people.
Yeah.
We hold the power of trying to uphold peace and being, half decent human beings for Christ's sake.
Mhm.
And that means, well, if something that goes down that probably shouldn't have gone down, open your damn mouth, stand up off
Literally.
your fucking ass and do something about it, rather than,
Mhm.
oh, it's not happening to
Each
me,
guy and
so
just not my issue.
not my issue. Yeah, you're like, yeah, but it's a person, man. And also it will become your issue because you're accepting that behavior,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. Not for nothing. I have literally spoken up in so many situations, fully prepared to get myself punched in the face, and I can't defend myself because I don't do that. It's like if you're disrespecting somebody in front of me, I know I can't fight, but I'm still gonna say something. I don't like that, especially because I know how it feels. Like so, I was really sitting there, and I was literally looking. Like I looked to the next to me, and the people were looking at me. So when I looked next to me, they were like this, right? Like right,
Yeah. Fucking.
like what? Don't look at me if you're not gonna help me.
Yeah, they just want to
Yeah.
observe like it's a movie, right? It's like this ain't no movie,
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Sit and record it. Like that's so interesting.
Oh man, that's a pet peeve of mine, man. If there's something going down, someone's getting their head kicked
I
in or whatever.
know.
I'm
Oh,
gonna stick my phone
world
out.
star. How about you go get your phone and call somebody to help though?
Yeah, yeah,
You do.
yeah, yeah. Come on, man. You unlocked your phone to get your camera out. How about you just click that 911 or 999, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it is for people and just, yo, somebody's getting their head caved in. You might not even want to get into that physical altercation. That's okay. That's fine. Not everybody
Yeah.
is
And
that
you don't even
gifted.
have to tell the cops your name either.
No,
Just be
just
like, look, there's a fight. Come get it.
probably not the right thing to happen on the street. Somebody's getting curb stomped. I would come clean this up
Mhm.
maybe because it's your job. But
Right.
oh God,
Go
man.
do something.
People are hard. People are hard. But I got three
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh, jeez.
Jugged you in it.
Greatest piece of life advice. Honestly, I'll just be like 100% honest with you. I haven't had like the best adult figures to look up to in my life. So I feel
Stop.
like I haven't gotten much advice in my life, but from the few people that are older and wiser and what that I do talked about my issues with, I feel like out of all people, I would take what my dad said. He told me something when I was really little. Just I feel like I said this all, the disabled thing, whatever. But just being disabled in general, right when I was little, my dad had always told me, he said, no matter what your physical disabilities are, he said, you always have, well, I have to explain the 2-leg system too, because he always started off with that. So we had this thing where we called the 2-leg system. One leg is family, one leg is I think the other one was family and see, I don't remember it. Anyway, long story short, you have 2 legs, right? One is family, you always got your family, and the other one was supposed to be like life experiences or whatever. So basically he said, no matter what life experiences you go through, you always have your family for one. So like if you're ever feeling alone, if you're ever feeling like you have nowhere to go, if you're just lost in general, just before turning to any type of like, you know, going into the depression or whatever, always reach out to somebody in your family that you feel close to, because in your worst times and you're feeling your loneliest, you always have somebody, even if you think you don't. So that always stuck with me for one, because I feel like my sister's that person. So I would always like text my sister, call, because she's like my little baby sister, you know. So like, I don't know, that's my girl, you know. So that was one thing that stuck with me. No matter what, don't feel alone, because there always is that one person, even if you don't know it, there's always somebody out there that loves you more than you love yourself. So just always remember that, because I have a lot of like mental issues myself. So I like to remember that, you know, because loneliness, man, it's a deep thing. And then I feel like the second piece of advice would just be being yourself, not letting, you know, my disability affect me, not letting, you know, my issues growing up with like not having like a mom in general, like be there. That was a big issue. So I had a lot of issues with like making relationships with people like in a healthy way. So I feel like instead of letting people walk all over me and make me feel like, you know, I'm not good enough because I have limitations, I feel like because he told me not to let that break me down, now I just feel like I'm very strong. I just feel like I'm very like, I could brush things off my shoulder really easy. You know, somebody could literally straight up, well, this has happened. People have literally like straight up called me like an ugly cripple. Like they literally have told me like back when I like weighed, I want to say I weighed almost like 300 pounds. I had like issues with like weight and stuff. They said that I was disabled because I was fat. Like nobody was gonna love me. Even like my parents didn't want me, you know, shit like that. So like, no matter what people would say, I feel like I just came out stronger, because I always knew, I was like, no matter what, don't let them tear you down, because I know who I am. I was like, I'm strong. I love people, even if people are nasty and rude. Like I literally love people no matter what. And I feel like that is the best advice you can go about with having anything, because if you think of life and people in a positive way, honestly, you literally will, I feel like, have a more positive outcome to anything. So just like remember who you are. Don't take people's shit. Don't let people stomp on you, roll all over you, whatever. Like life is hard. Like there's gonna be, I'm not gonna lie, there's moments where people got me. Like, you know, that happens. But no matter what, remember who you are. Be strong. Don't let people change you. Just live life how you want to do it. And people are going to judge you, and just know that they're going to judge you and still do it. Who cares? Life is way too short, you know? So I feel like that's the best piece of advice that I like to also give to people.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you so much. This has been a fucking privilege.
Yeah, thank you. This has
Thank you.
been fun. I like it.
We can always talk shit whenever you want, anytime.
Yeah.
You're always
I
welcome
know I
back.
feel bad that I had to keep pushing it off. I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad we
No,
finally got to do this.
things happen, you know, life happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mate, thank you. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll speak soon.
Alrighty, you too.
All right, mate. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.